After the courtroom victory, I, Renata Richter, stepped out into the crisp autumn air feeling like a bird released from a cage I'd built myself. At 72, I had reclaimed my life from the clutches of my son Max and his wife Lena, who saw me only as a walking wallet. The judge's words echoed in my mind. Mrs. Richter is in full possession of her mental faculties. It wasn't just a legal win. It was permission to finally live for myself. No more beans and rice to fund their whims. No more silent tears over their indifference. The $33,400 I'd poured into their bottomless pit was gone. But what remained? My remaining savings, my pension, my husband's modest inheritance, was now mine to nurture my own soul. That evening, back in my quiet house, I sat at the kitchen table where I'd once tallied their expenses. Now I pulled out a fresh notebook. Personal growth plan, I titled the first page. No more postponing joy for their emergencies. I listed hobbies I'd abandoned. Painting, which I'd loved as a young woman. Gardening beyond the basics. Perhaps even dance classes to loosen these old bones. Health came next, regular doctor visits, not just when I felt faint from skipping meals to save for them. And travel. Oh, travel. I dreamed of seeing the world but always shelved it, thinking, what if Max needs the money? Well, Max could fend for himself now. The next morning, I started small. I drove to the local art supply store, a place I hadn't visited in decades. The smell of fresh canvases and oil paints hit me like a wave of forgotten youth. I bought a set of brushes, vibrant colors, and an easel. $150 well spent. Back home, I set it up in the sunny corner of my living room, where the light danced like it never had before. My first painting was clumsy, a simple vase of flowers from my garden. But as the brush stroked the canvas, something inside me bloomed. Tears welled up, not from pain, but from the sheer freedom of creating without apology. This is for me, I whispered, signing Renata at the bottom with a flourish. Eleanor, my neighbor-turned-lifeline, noticed the change immediately. You look radiant, Renata, she said over coffee that afternoon. I showed her the painting and she clapped. Join our garden club art sessions. We're all amateurs, but it's about the joy. I hesitated, old habits of isolation died hard, but then nodded. Why not? That week, I attended my first session. Surrounded by women like me, who'd faced their own battles with ungrateful kin, I painted landscapes while sharing stories. Maria, the one with the mooching brother, suggested a beginner's watercolor class at the community center. It's only $50 for 10 weeks, she said. I signed up on the spot, redirecting funds that once went to Lena's personal expenses. Shape for 72, Mrs. Richter, but let's add some exercise. She recommended yoga for flexibility and walking for the heart. I joined a senior yoga class at the YMCA, $30 a month, a pittance compared to the $500 rents I'd covered. The first session was awkward. My body protested every downward dog, but by the third, I felt stronger, more grounded. Mornings became sacred. A brisk walk in the park where I'd once pushed Max's stroller, now alone but not lonely. I breathed in the fresh air, feeling my heartbeat steady and sure. This body carried a child, buried a husband, and survived betrayal, I told myself. It deserves care. As weeks turned to months, I grew bolder. Volunteering called to me, something to give back without being drained. Eleanor connected me with a local shelter for abused elders, ironically fitting. I started twice a week, helping with paperwork and listening to stories that mirrored mine. One woman, Clara, shared how her daughter had sued for her savings. You survived the court. So can I, she said, hugging me. Giving time, not money, filled a void I'd mistaken for family love. It cost nothing but rewarded everything. Purpose, connection, gratitude. But the crown jewel was travel. I'd hoarded airline miles from rare trips, always cut short for their crises. Now I booked a solo adventure to Italy, Rome, Florence, Venice. $2,000 for flights and a modest hotel, plus spending money from my savings. Am I crazy? I wondered, packing my suitcase. But as the plane lifted off, excitement bubbled like champagne. In Rome, I wandered the Colosseum, imagining gladiators' roars. No rushing back for Max's calls. In Florence, I stood before Michelangelo's David, marveling at the human form's resilience, much like my own. I joined a painting workshop there, sketching the Arno River under Tuscan sun. Bellissimo, the instructor praised. For the first time, I felt beautiful, alive, unburdened. Venice was magic. Gondola rides, gelato by the canals, and a mask-making class where I crafted one adorned with feathers, symbolizing my rebirth. I met fellow travelers, a widow from Canada who shared widowhood tales, a young artist who encouraged my painting. No one asked for money. Conversations flowed from genuine interest. Postcards home? None to Max and Lena. Instead, I journaled, "Freedom isn't absence of pain. It's presence of self." Back home, I sold the old house. Too many ghosts of transfers and tears. $250,000 profit after fees. I bought a cozy condo downtown, with a balcony overlooking the city lights. The extra money? Half to elder abuse charities as promised. The rest funded more growth. A cruise to Alaska next summer, advanced art classes, even ballroom dancing lessons. I twirled with partners my age, laughing at missteps, feeling young again. Word got back through Diana. Max and Lena struggled. Evicted once, now in a tiny apartment. Lena worked retail. Max took overtime. No more champagne toasts without me. Part of me pitied them, but pity wasn't permission to return. They'd learn independence or not, that was their chapter. At 72, my life was a canvas I'd finally claimed. Mornings with yoga, afternoons painting abstracts of my travels, evenings with friends like Eleanor, toasting to resilience. Pain had been the catalyst, but joy was the destination. I turned betrayal into beauty, isolation into inspiration, and in loving myself, I discovered the richest investment of all.